The second of the unique original Norris houses was one of a number of cedar shake houses in town. The John and Alice Lain house was also on East Circle Drive. In 1996, Sarah Hilten interviewed Alice Lain about this unique house.
I think this was supposed to represent the mountain cabins that were called dog trot. And what is our living room was an open area, and the dogs literally could go from the front to the backyard. There would be a room on either side and a loft covering the whole thing. And that was the mountain plan, and it was repeated a number of times in Norris. I would say perhaps almost as many dog trot houses as of any other one type. Wouldn't you agree,
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes, there are.
Tell me a little bit more about originally, was it composed of essentially 3 rooms and a loft? Is that it?
Yes, upstairs.
Now, is the upstairs finished?
Oh, yes. Now,
And it
in
was
some houses,
originally?
yes, in some houses it was not, but in this one, which is, I guess, was chosen as the show place, and as Norris houses go or went in those days, this was a large house. There are 2 kinds of dog trots, large and small, and cramped as this is, it's a large dog trot.
From the exterior, it looks exactly as TVA built it. Nothing has been added that you can see from this end. And we've always enjoyed our backyard particularly. Makes a nice view down there.
And the shingle house just fits in this setting.
When John bought the house, he asked someone what about painting it. And whoever he asked said, "Oh, why paint it?" He said, "Those shingles will last longer than you will."
Well, it looks very homelike in these huge trees.
Yes, we enjoy the trees. And this, of course, would have been an open dog trot. There was a screen porch originally on the back. There were French doors leading to the screen porch where that larger doorway is. A very dark room because of the paneling, so we have painted part of it.
And this is the original paneling over on our right.
Yes.
A plywood
Oh, the paneling
paneling.
there.
And
Yes,
you painted over
yes.
the dark
Mhm.
finish of the plywood.
It lightened the room considerably.
And originally, through what was French doors, led to a screened back porch.
A screen porch,
Mm-hmm.
which was very nice in the summertime, but didn't do much in the wintertime.
Well, let's see some more of the house.
All right, in here is a room that is part dining room and part kitchen, with this little divider.
And again, the interior walls are original, except that
Except for the
Paint-
wallpaper.
painting in the wallpaper, which looks very nice.
Yes. And one of the things that we like about the house is the original light fixture. These were all over town when the town was built, but most people didn't care for them, and they were pretty vulnerable. But we like them, and we have 2 of them in our house.
Great. Could you tell me a little bit more about some of the other modifications that you've made? Because it looks very original here.
Well, it is, except for the paint. You know, this, we have not done anything changed structurally. For instance, I'm sure these were, do you know about these? Were these all over town, these butcher block counters?
They were in several houses, I recall. And these cabinets are just as they were when they were first installed, and these down here too.
Including the hardware?
But a different
Yes,
sink.
the hardware. Well, yes, a different sink.
Right.
A different
Because the
dishwasher.
sinks were those big, deep sinks, right? Those cast iron
Yeah.
sinks. But this is the original
Yes.
hardware.
Now, this cabinet is also an original feature to the house, and it was a rather convenient pantry, wasn't it?
Yes, there's a lot of storage space in there.
Mm-hmm. And that is the primary pantry or storage
Oh,
area
yes.
for,
Mm-hmm.
and still as original as ever.
Yes.
And you had a relatively small space to work in the kitchen, as
I
is
still
true.
have a relatively small space, but I find it really quite convenient.
Yes, but it looks like you've done a very fine job of putting it together in a useful and managing way. It's a beautiful stove.
Now this is just the utility area. Things that everybody has to have or thinks they have to have these days, modern laundry equipment. And this whole area, the utility area and this living area, was a screen porch, which a number of years ago, like 25 or 30 I guess, we made into a room, and we have heat and light out here, and it's
A very livable
a
space.
place that we enjoy a great deal.
And you still have the original cedar siding.
Oh, yes. Now that was something that we decided to do that I think nobody else in town did. Many, many people have made rooms out of this area, these porches, but most of them either tore the shingles out or covered them up, and we decided to keep them.
I'm glad you kept them.
And I've always been glad that we still have the shingles.
Mm-hmm. The opening leads back to our dog Trot and the living room out there. And this is the master bedroom.
Yes.
Still with the original door. Now, I noticed that you have two closets in here.
Well, one is a bathroom, a
Oh, I see.
tiny, tiny bathroom.
This one, the first door,
Yes.
and then this.
And this is
remains
a closet.
I see.
Mhm.
How have you felt about closet spaces over the year?
Cramped. But we managed. We probably have more clothes than we need. Most people do.
Right. Well, so we see some more?
Would you like to come upstairs?
Yes. Now this is a nicely finished upstairs.
Yes, it is. All this hall space, but I don't know how to get around that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they didn't either. Now there's something in here that perhaps you'd like. Everything in this bathroom was torn out and replaced except for one thing, which John wanted to keep, and I'm glad we kept it, which is this little medicine cabinet, which is an original medicine cabinet. I'm sure they were all over town, but probably very few of them are left. He said, let's keep that.
It was a little steel medicine cabinet,
Yes.
wasn't it?
So I said, okay. And it has a nice beveled mirror, and really it's quite attractive.
Now that cabinet looks like it's the original cabinet, however.
No, everything except that. We had to have that built, see, to fit that little, everything is so small. You know. And this bedroom you can see.
This is a beautiful bedroom.
This is the guest room.
And this was original?
Yes.
And another example of her handiwork.
It's a beautiful quilt.
Isn't
It goes
that
beautifully
a lovely piece?
in the whole house. And we have, this looks like a room that a child would just have a wonderful place living in.
Well,
Or anyone for that matter. And is that door original right there too?
oh yes, these doors upstairs, you know, they cut corners a little upstairs. So,
And aren't the latches
the latches
original?
are the original.
Mm-hmm.
And those were discussed and pressed.
Oh, they certainly were.
From time
Yes.
to time.
That's what I understand as well. So there are actually how many rooms up here?
There are 3 rooms and the bath upstairs.
Well, that certainly does add quite
Oh,
a bit
yes.
of space.
I'll bet you were surprised at the amount
I
of
was.
space in this room, weren't you? Most people are.
Yes.
Well, I mean, in this house, not this room.
Yes.
Well, it's really lovely. Shall we take a look around the back and go outside for a moment?
If you would like to.
Epstein, who had bought it at the auction?
Yes.
Or
John bought it from him.
and Epstein had bought it at the auction,
Yes,
actually.
that is right.
But they were, at that time when John did come out and look to buy this house, they were marketing these homes, right?
Well, to start out with, this is my understanding, and you correct me, Sarah, if I'm wrong. You could buy the house you were living in if you
Okay.
wanted.
You had the
Isn't that
choice
right?
to do
You
that.
had the choice, and people moved from house to house in order to be living in the house they wanted to buy. I don't know how much of that there was, but there was some. I suppose a trivial thing, but I'll tell you one thing that is an asset was in this house is if you're going to give a big party, the flow is just marvelous. You can get all over the downstairs without backtracking, and it just makes for a good plan for a party. Probably the worst thing is that what we've mentioned, I guess, before, that everything is so small that we have to keep that in space. It has to be kept into consideration all the time. We have plenty of floor space, but it is not arranged the way we would like to have it in all cases. So it's hard to cope with.